Have you ever felt like failure is chasing you? Maybe you tried to achieve something important, but things didn't turn out the way you expected. Failure is a universal experience, something we all face at some point in life. However, what if I told you that failure is not the end, but the beginning of something much greater? First of all, failure is an opportunity to learn valuable lessons. Every time you fail, you are one step closer to understanding what doesn't work. That information, although painful at first, is exactly what you need to correct your course and move closer to your goals. Failure also fosters personal growth. When we fail, we often face ourselves and our limitations. It helps us understand our weaknesses, and if we are willing, we can work on them to become stronger and more resilient. Every failure is like a test that, once overcome, makes us more capable of facing whatever comes next. Failure also forces us to innovate and be more creative. It pushes us to find new solutions and explore possibilities we might never have considered if everything had gone right the first time. Failure drives us out of our comfort zone and encourages us to find different ways to do things. Sometimes, what seems like an insurmountable obstacle is actually a door to a completely new perspective. Failure can force us to change direction, take paths we hadn't initially considered, and in the end, lead us to something much better than we had imagined. Moreover, failure gives us humility. It helps us remember that we don't know everything and that there is always something new to learn. It makes us more receptive to listening, learning from others, and appreciating achievements more deeply because we know the effort and setbacks that got us there. And it's not just a personal matter. It also changes the way we see others. By facing our failures, we become more empathetic and understanding. When someone around us faces difficulties, we can support them in a genuine way because we know what it means to go through something similar. Finally, failure is a reminder that dreams are worth it, but also that achieving them is not always an easy path. It's a process that requires persistence, courage, and a good dose of self-compassion. Failure reminds us that success is not measured by never falling, but by our ability to rise each time stronger. Failure, although generally perceived as something negative, can often be one of the greatest allies on the path to success. It allows us to learn in a deeper way than success itself. When we fail, we confront our weaknesses, force ourselves to reflect, and adjust our strategies. Through this introspection, we find lessons that help us improve and grow, lessons that are sometimes impossible to obtain without the pain or challenge that failure entails. Additionally, failure develops our resilience. It teaches us to rise after we fall, to keep moving forward despite obstacles, and to become stronger with each setback. Without difficulties and failures, it would be hard to learn how to stand firm in times of adversity. Every failure emotionally prepares us to face new challenges with a more mature and confident perspective. Sometimes failure also opens up new opportunities. When things don't go as we expected, we are forced to reevaluate our options and often discover paths we hadn't considered before. It can be a catalyst for a change in direction that turns out to be more beneficial than the original plan. It is in those moments of failure that innovative ideas and new solutions emerge. And it is in frustration where we find the strength to reinvent ourselves. Failure also helps to readjust our expectations. By failing, we realize that perhaps our goals weren't as realistic as we thought, or that the path toward them needed some adjustment. Failure, then, is not just a course correction, but an opportunity to set clearer and more achievable goals. It teaches us to be more aware of what we truly want and need. It's important to understand that success is not a straight line. Many of the most successful people have failed repeatedly before reaching their achievements. In many cases, each failure has been a necessary step toward their success. So, instead of viewing failure as an obstacle, we should see it as an integral part of the process that leads us toward our goals. Finally, failure also fosters humility and empathy. When we fail, we realize how vulnerable we are, which makes us more understanding of others. It reminds us that there are no certainties in life and that we all face our own battles. Through these failures, we learn to be more human, more connected, and more compassionate with others. In summary, failing is not only inevitable, but it is a fundamental part of growth. It challenges us, teaches us, transforms us, and ultimately leads us to become better versions of ourselves. Failure also has the ability to redefine our relationship with fear and uncertainty. Often, we fear failure because we associate it with rejection, shame, or suffering. However, when we experience failure repeatedly, we begin to realize that it is not as terrible as we once thought. Instead of avoiding risk, we become more willing to face it. The fear of failure loses its power when we understand that it is simply part of the process, not the end of the road. We learn to embrace uncertainty and see it as an opportunity to grow and discover new aspects of ourselves. Additionally, failure connects us to a form of authenticity that can only be achieved when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable. When we fail, we set aside the masks we often wear to protect our image and show ourselves as we truly are. In those moments, we realize that perfection is not what defines us, but rather our ability to learn, adapt, and move forward. This authenticity is not only liberating for ourselves, but it also inspires others to be more real, more honest, and to not fear failure. It reminds us that we are all on this journey of learning and that the value is not in never falling, but in how we rise. At times, failure also gives us a broader perspective on what really matters. It forces us to question our priorities, examine our motivations, and discern what is truly worth pursuing. When we face defeat, we see what we have, what we've accomplished, and what we can still achieve. This type of reflection allows us to focus on what truly makes us happy and leads us to make changes that align us more closely with our values and passions. Instead of constantly seeking external validation, we begin to define success on our own terms. Another valuable aspect of failure is that it helps us appreciate success more deeply. When we finally reach a goal after failing several times, the satisfaction is much richer. The path to success, then, is not only made of achievements, but of moments of learning, personal growth, and overcoming challenges. The taste of success is sweeter when we've had to fight for it, when we've been aware of the effort and resilience we've put into the process. Finally, failure teaches us to be more patient with ourselves. We live in a society that often values instant results, perfection, and quick success. However, failure reminds us that everything has its time and that progress is not always linear. Accepting that failing is part of the process allows us to be kinder to ourselves when things don't turn out as expected. It gives us permission to rest, reflect, and start over without being too hard on ourselves. In conclusion, failing is not only an experience we must accept, but also a powerful tool for personal development. It teaches us to be stronger, more authentic, and more resilient. It reminds us that success is not just the destination, but the journey filled with lessons, challenges, and growth. Failure can also serve as a mirror that reflects our true passions and desires. Often, when something doesn't go as expected, we are forced to re-examine whether we are truly pursuing what we want or if we have been influenced by external expectations. This type of introspection helps us redirect our energy toward what truly motivates us and makes us feel fulfilled. It gives us the opportunity to reevaluate our dreams and goals and ensure that we are on the right path, not out of obligation or pressure, but because we are truly passionate about it. Once we free ourselves from the fear of failure, we can begin to make decisions with greater freedom and confidence. Realizing that failure is not permanent, but just a stage of the process, allows us to embrace opportunities with a more open mindset. Instead of being cautious or doubtful, we encourage ourselves to take calculated risks, try new things, and step out of our comfort zone without fear of the consequences. The ability to act boldly, even when we have no guarantees of success, is an invaluable skill that can only be cultivated by accepting that failure is simply part of the journey. Additionally, failure has a unique ability to strengthen our relationships. When we share our failures with others, we set aside the facade of perfection and show our vulnerability. This fosters a greater connection and understanding with those around us. Instead of trying to hide our falls, we can learn to be more open and honest, allowing relationships to grow more authentically. Shared failures can be a source of support for others, as we all face obstacles at some point, and seeing others fall and rise again helps us feel less alone in our struggles. Failure also carries an important lesson about the significance of the process and ongoing effort. Often, when we succeed right away, we don't realize all that we've learned along the way. But when we fail and then achieve something, that victory feels more earned. We realize that the value lies not only in the final outcome, but in the effort, learning, and perseverance required to get there. Patience and constant work become essential values, teaching us to enjoy each step of the journey, not just the final destination. It is also important to note that failure is not synonymous with incapacity. Often, the people who fail are the ones who dare to dream big, innovate, and challenge the limits of what is considered possible. The fear of failure can limit us, but those who have failed many times are in reality the bravest ones, the ones who dared to take risks, learn, and grow. Failure becomes a testament to our courage to step outside our comfort zone and face the unknown. In the grand scheme of things, failure teaches us that life is not a destination, but a series of experiences that transform us. Every failure offers a new perspective on what truly matters, drives us to be bolder, connects us with others more deeply, and prepares us for the future. It shows us that true success is not measured by external achievements, but by our ability to adapt, learn, and move forward. And so, instead of fearing it, we can begin to see failure as a teacher guiding us toward a stronger, wiser, and more authentic version of ourselves. In the end, failure has a way of breaking down the internal barriers that prevent us from seeing our true potential. The moment we experience a fall or setback, we are presented with a unique opportunity to discover aspects of ourselves that we otherwise would have ignored. Failure can be a catalyst for us to leave behind insecurities and self-doubt, and begin to trust more in our abilities, even if we don't get the expected results. It teaches us that it's not about being perfect, but about being persistent and brave in the pursuit of our dreams. Some of the greatest achievements in history have been the direct result of previous failures. From inventions to social movements, often what begins as a personal or professional failure transforms into something significant that benefits many. This pattern repeats over time, demonstrating that the ability to learn and adapt through defeats is what truly separates those who fall by the wayside from those who reach success. It's not the number of failures that determines the outcome, but the ability to keep moving forward with determination and creativity. On the other hand, failure also reminds us of the importance of humility. No one is immune to challenges, and everyone, even the most successful, has had to face moments of doubt and error. This lesson in humility teaches us not only to be more compassionate with ourselves, but also with others. It helps us understand that each person has their own path, full of ups and downs, and being a good support for others in their own failures is a powerful way to create a stronger, more supportive community. At times, failure can even fuel our creativity. Instead of giving in to defeat, many people find that when traditional solutions don't work, a new way of thinking emerges, a fresh perspective. Failures challenge us to find alternatives, to be more ingenious, and to reinvent our approach to problems. It's in those moments of challenge that we truly discover what we are capable of, when our minds expand beyond previously imposed limits, pushing us to innovate. Furthermore, failure, when handled properly, teaches us to be more generous with our expectations. By recognizing that perfectionism and the fear of making mistakes can limit us, we learn to embrace imperfection, both in ourselves and in others. This acceptance of failure as an integral part of the human experience allows us to enjoy moments without the pressure of always being perfect, creating space for experimentation, growth, and the genuine enjoyment of each step of the way. Finally, failure gives us the opportunity to redefine what success means. The concept of success varies from person to person, and it can change over time as we evolve. Sometimes true success is not measured by what we achieve or the number of accomplishments reached, but by what we have learned, how we have transformed, and the wisdom we have acquired through the trials we've faced. Failure, then, becomes an essential part of this process of transformation and personal growth. In summary, failure is not just a negative event, but a rich source of learning and opportunities. Through it, we can redefine our relationship with success, vulnerability, and perseverance. It gives us the tools to be stronger, more creative, more humble, and ultimately more human. Every time we fall, we have the option to rise with a new perspective, wiser and more prepared to face what's next. Thus, failure is not something we should merely accept, but something we should learn to embrace, because in it lies the true potential for a richer, more meaningful, and successful life. Failure also teaches us to let go of the illusion of control. We often try to plan every step and anticipate every obstacle, believing we can avoid any setbacks. However, when we fail, we realize that we cannot always control the outcomes, no matter how hard we try. Learning to accept uncertainty and trust the process is a valuable lesson that only failure can teach. It allows us to live with greater peace, recognizing that although we don't have total control, we can always adapt and find new ways to move forward. Additionally, each failure makes us more aware of our purpose. As we face obstacles, we begin to question what truly matters to us and why we're willing to keep going despite difficulties. This helps clarify our goals and deepen our understanding of the motivations driving us. In this sense, failure can be a tool of self-discovery, revealing what really matters and allowing us to focus our energy on what truly has value for us. Failure also prepares us to face future challenges with a more realistic perspective. When we go through difficult times, we develop a more mature understanding of what the path toward our goals really entails. We stop idealizing success and understand that in reality, it's a process that requires hard work, patience, and persistence. This mindset shift helps us approach new challenges without quickly getting discouraged, as we know that setbacks are part of the journey and that each fall makes us stronger. On the other hand, failure can be a source of inspiration for others. When we share our stories of overcoming, we convey a powerful message about the importance of perseverance. Seeing that others have fallen and risen again can be a great encouragement for those struggling with their own failures. In this way, our learning process can become a guide and support for others, creating a chain of resilience and motivation that goes beyond our own experiences. Failure also invites us to redefine our relationship with time. Often, when things don't go as expected, we tend to feel frustrated about wasted time or efforts in vain. However, failure teaches us that time spent learning and growing is never truly wasted. It reminds us that each step, even those that don't lead us directly to our goal, contributes to our development and prepares us for future opportunities. We learn to see time from a broader perspective, appreciating each experience as an integral part of our journey. Failure also gives us the freedom to be ourselves, without the constant pressure of perfection. It allows us to explore, make mistakes, and experiment without the paralyzing fear of not meeting expectations. Instead of avoiding the unknown, we feel more comfortable facing it, knowing that even if we fail, there will always be a valuable lesson to help us improve. This freedom fosters a more authentic life, where we allow ourselves to dream big and pursue our passions without the chains of fear of failure. Ultimately, failure is one of the most human experiences there is. It connects us with our vulnerability and reminds us that, although the path may be uncertain, we always have the ability to adapt, learn, and evolve. By accepting failure as an ally rather than an enemy, we open ourselves to a life of constant growth and self-discovery, where each step, each mistake, and each lesson brings us closer to our best selves. Failure is not the end of the road, but a sign that we are moving forward, that we are alive, and that we continue to pursue what truly matters to us. Failure at its core is an invitation to develop our inner strength and our ability to trust ourselves. When we face disappointment or setbacks, we learn to rely on our own capacity to solve problems, adapt, and move forward. We realize that, although external circumstances may be tough, we always have the power to choose our attitude and response. This sense of self-confidence is built and strengthened with each experience of failure, allowing us to face the future with a resilient and positive mindset. At the same time, failure teaches us the importance of gratitude and appreciation for achievements, both big and small. When we experience a setback, we recognize the value of every step forward, each small success, and every bit of progress. Failure sensitizes us to acknowledge and celebrate our victories, no matter their size, and helps us appreciate the effort we have put into our growth. This gratitude drives us forward, reminding us that every accomplishment deserves recognition, as it is the result of work, learning, and perseverance. Failure also encourages us to let go of comparisons with others. Often, when we stumble, we are tempted to compare ourselves with those who seem to have an easier path, or who have reached their goals ahead of us. However, failure reminds us that everyone has their own pace and challenges, and that there is no single way to measure success. Accepting our failures allows us to focus on our own journey, goals, and values, without the pressure of meeting someone else's standards. Moreover, failure fosters a growth mindset. People who view failure as a learning opportunity tend to adopt a perspective where potential is limitless, and each obstacle is an opportunity for improvement. Rather than feeling that our abilities are fixed, we understand that we can always learn something new, develop new skills, and expand our capacity. This growth mindset is essential for overcoming challenges, as it encourages us to see each experience, no matter how difficult, as an opportunity for development and self-betterment. Finally, failure teaches us to live with purpose and meaning. When we face difficulties, we are driven to question and delve deeper into our goals, often leading us to discover what truly excites and motivates us. Setbacks give us the clarity to understand that if we are willing to keep going despite obstacles, it's because we are genuinely committed to what we want to achieve. It allows us to live with stronger intention and a deeper purpose, knowing that each failure is an essential part of our story. Thus, we can see that failure, rather than being a detour on the path to success, is actually a series of steps that help us build a more authentic life, full of purpose and meaning. It teaches us to be patient, to trust ourselves, to value our achievements, to live without comparison, and to view each challenge as an opportunity for growth. Ultimately, accepting failure as a fundamental part of our lives allows us to live with greater freedom, as we understand that no matter how many times we fall, we will always have the strength and wisdom to rise and carry on. Accepting failure as an integral part of our lives also allows us to live with greater self-compassion. By recognizing that mistakes are inevitable, we learn to treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we would offer a friend. Instead of being harsh or punishing ourselves for not reaching a goal, we develop an attitude of self-acceptance, understanding that failures don't define our worth, but rather enrich our experience. This sense of self-compassion is powerful, as it allows us to recover more quickly and maintain a positive outlook even in difficult times. Failure, moreover, reminds us of the importance of being flexible and adaptable. Life rarely follows a straight line, and when we encounter obstacles, the ability to adjust our plans and reinvent our strategies becomes a valuable resource. Failure forces us to rethink our goals and find alternative paths to reach them. This process of adaptation not only helps us better face future challenges, but also encourages us to be more creative and resourceful in our solutions, enhancing our problem-solving and decision-making skills. In learning to cope with failure, we develop a resilience that becomes an asset in every area of life, from personal to professional. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity, to find strength in difficult moments, and to keep moving forward without losing sight of our goals. Each failure we overcome strengthens this skill, making us more resistant to the tests we may face in the future. Thus, failure not only teaches us to be stronger, but also prepares us to face challenges with more courage and calm. Failure also reminds us of the importance of continuous learning. Instead of viewing a mistake as the end of the story, we can embrace it as the beginning of something new. Every experience offers the chance to learn something that will benefit us in the future. Even when the results aren't as expected, the process of reflection allows us to analyze what we can improve and how we can apply that lesson in our next steps. Adopting a constant learning mindset helps us move forward with wisdom and motivates us to keep growing and evolving. Finally, failure allows us to build a richer and more meaningful life narrative. Every time we face a difficulty and overcome it, we create a story of perseverance and resilience that defines us and gives us a stronger identity. Looking back and seeing the moments when we stumbled and got back up gives us a deeper perspective on our journey and allows us to value each chapter of our life. This growth narrative fills us with pride and gives us the confidence that we are capable of facing whatever comes our way. In summary, failure is much more than an obstacle. It's a source of learning, a strengthening of our resilience, and an invitation to live with purpose, flexibility, and compassion. Through failure, we discover ourselves, develop skills we wouldn't have gained otherwise, and create a life with greater meaning and authenticity. Each fall becomes an opportunity to redefine ourselves, and in that process, we come closer to our best selves. Failure, then, becomes a tool to discover our passions and redefine our dreams. Sometimes, failures reveal that what we were seeking wasn't truly what we wanted. When things don't go as expected, we are forced to reflect on whether that goal was genuinely ours or if it was driven by external expectations. This introspection gives us the freedom to reconsider our direction, aligning ourselves more with what truly resonates with our values and desires. Thus, failure can be a door to a more authentic path, one where our actions and goals reflect who we are at our core. Moreover, failure connects us to our humanity and gives us the opportunity to find empathy in the process. We've all experienced failures at some point, and this provides common ground with others. By sharing our stories of overcoming setbacks, we create deeper and more meaningful connections. Recognizing that others have also faced difficulties helps us see them with greater understanding, allowing us to build relationships based on authenticity and mutual support. In a world where success is often glorified, without showing the effort and setbacks that accompany it, being honest about our failures and lessons can be incredibly liberating, both for us and those around us. Additionally, failure cultivates in us a sense of gratitude for the process, not just the outcome. We learn to value every step, even those that seem not to lead directly to our goals. This appreciation for the journey as a whole allows us to find meaning in each experience, which transforms the way we view life. Suddenly, every moment becomes an opportunity to learn, grow, and move a little closer to our goals, no matter how distant they may seem. At its core, failure prepares us for a more balanced life, rich in meaning. It gives us the humility to recognize that we can't always control everything, and invites us to accept change and go with the flow of uncertainty. It helps us appreciate every achievement, no matter how small, and celebrate the effort we've put into each step along the way. Ultimately, understanding that failure is a natural and valuable part of life frees us from the pressure to be perfect and allows us to live more authentically, more connected, and, in the end, more fully. Each experience of failure brings us one step closer to wisdom, strength, and inner peace. It reminds us that as long as we keep trying, we are always making progress, even if the results aren't immediately visible. And most importantly, failure gives us the certainty that we are more resilient and capable than we ever imagined. It shows us that, no matter the challenges, we have within us the ability to rise again and again with a stronger and wiser version of ourselves, ready to face whatever comes with a heart full of courage and determination. Failure, then, is not just an experience we face, but an essential stage in the process of personal growth. It teaches us to embrace the unknown, to accept that we won't always have all the answers, but that the important thing is to be willing to keep exploring. It gives us a broader perspective on life, helping us understand that failures are not the end, but a natural part of the journey toward success. Without those falls, our victories wouldn't have the same flavor or meaning. Moreover, failure invites us to break free from external expectations and rediscover what truly drives us from within. We live in a society where success is often measured by external criteria: money, recognition, or fame. But when we fail, we are faced with deeper questions. Do I really want this? Is this the path that fills me and makes me feel whole? Failure gives us the opportunity to reassess our priorities and make decisions more aligned with what truly matters to us, without being bound by standards imposed by others. This process of self-discovery leads us to greater authenticity. By falling and rising again, we learn to be true to ourselves, to accept our imperfections, and to value our uniqueness. It allows us to let go of the need for external validation and find our inner strength. Every time we overcome a difficulty, we get closer to the person we truly are, without adornments or pretensions. This authenticity gives us an internal peace that is much more valuable than any superficial or fleeting success. As we continue this process of transformation through failure, we begin to understand that true success is not measured only by the achievement of external goals, but by internal growth and the ability to adapt to circumstances. Painful experiences, or those that seem to yield no immediate result, teach us a fundamental lesson. Success lies in persistence, not perfection. It is in the repeated attempt, in the will to keep going even when things don't go as expected, where true victory resides. This attitude allows us to approach life with a flexible mindset, open to change, and willing to accept that life doesn't always follow the plan we imagined. Furthermore, each failure pushes us to expand our vision of the world and of ourselves. It forces us to question our limiting beliefs and explore new ways of thinking, acting, and perceiving. Instead of getting stuck in a narrow view, it opens our eyes to possibilities we never would have considered before. This can lead us to discover hidden talents, develop skills we didn't know we had, and explore paths that, at first, seemed distant or unattainable. This constant growth, driven by failure, also teaches us the importance of emotional flexibility. Learning to let go of attachment to results and accepting what comes helps us cultivate inner peace that doesn't depend on external circumstances. Life is full of uncertainty and change, and those who learn to manage their emotions in the face of failure develop a stability that allows them to navigate the turbulence of life calmly. By understanding that pain and frustration are inevitable parts of the process, we can free our minds from anxiety and embrace the present moment, trusting that every experience has something valuable to teach us. Likewise, failure invites us to recognize the power of perseverance. It's not about never falling, but about getting up every time we do. It is tenacity that distinguishes those who achieve their goals from those who give up at the first sign of difficulty. Perseverance is a skill developed over time, and only when we face failure, repeatedly do we learn to cultivate it effectively. Every time we persevere despite challenges, we become stronger, wiser, and more committed to our aspirations. This journey of persistence and self-discovery leads us to a place where, looking back, we can see all our moments of failure as the foundations upon which our lives have been built. Without those moments of challenge, we wouldn't have gained the perspectives, wisdom, and experiences we have today. Failure shows us that there are no shortcuts in life. Each step, even those that seem to be going in the wrong direction, prepares us for what's to come. In the end, failure is not a destination, but a process that, although painful at times, is essential for achieving what truly matters in life: a fulfilling, authentic existence filled with meaning. It allows us to grow, evolve, and find our true voice in the world. Instead of seeing it as an obstacle, we can begin to view it as an indispensable part of our journey, a sign that we are learning, challenging ourselves, and moving closer to a more complete and powerful version of ourselves. Therefore, failure is an opportunity to free ourselves from the need to be perfect, to embrace our vulnerability, to learn to enjoy the journey, and to find strength in every fall. It offers us the tools to live with greater wisdom, compassion, and purpose. Through it, we understand that success is not something achieved all at once, but the result of a continuous process of learning, growth, and resilience. And in each of these moments, we find the opportunity to rewrite our story, to be the best version of ourselves, and to live with a deep sense of gratitude, knowing we have traveled the path with courage and determination. As we continue to move forward on our journey, failure gives us the opportunity to redefine what true success really means. Often, we associate success with external recognition, fame, or tangible achievements. However, when we experience failure and survive it, we discover that true success lies in the ability to move forward despite obstacles, in the inner strength that drives us to not give up. It is in the dedication to our values, to our personal vision, that we find a deeper and more lasting form of success. This type of success, which does not depend on the opinions of others or social validation, is grounded in authenticity. It leads us to understand that, while others may judge our failures, what really matters is our own perception of what we've learned, how we've grown, and how we've continued to fight. Failure teaches us that there is no single path to success, and that each person has their own journey. By being true to ourselves and our passions, we learn to value our own progress, even when it is not evident to others. Additionally, failure invites us to reflect on the purpose of our actions. Are we pursuing goals that truly excite us, or are we simply following the expectations of others? Failure can be a signal that we need to adjust our goals, that perhaps we are on the wrong path. It forces us to question our decisions, look within ourselves, and reconnect with what truly motivates us. And although it can be painful in the moment, this type of reflection is crucial for redirecting our energy toward what really matters. In this process of redefining success, failure also helps us develop a growth mindset. Every time we fail and get back up, we train our minds to see every difficulty as an opportunity to improve. We begin to understand that our skills, knowledge, and abilities are not fixed, but can be developed over time, through practice and perseverance. By adopting this mindset, we give ourselves the freedom to explore new ideas, try new strategies, and be more creative when facing challenges. This allows us to step out of our comfort zone and grow in ways we never imagined. Failure also teaches us the importance of patience, not only with ourselves, but with others. As we understand that the path to success is filled with stumbles, we become more understanding of others when they face their own failures. Instead of judging or criticizing, we learn to offer support and encouragement, knowing that we are all in the same learning process. This empathy not only strengthens our relationships, but also creates a more positive and cooperative environment, where mutual growth is the ultimate goal. Over time, failure allows us to find greater inner peace. It gives us the wisdom to understand that not everything in life is within our control, and that there is beauty in accepting the uncertain. We learn to free ourselves from the need to always be in control, and instead, to live with the confidence that even in adversity, everything has a purpose. This acceptance provides us with a calm that does not depend on external achievements or failures, but on our ability to be at peace with who we are and with the process we are going through. Finally, failure gives us the opportunity to rewrite our story. Each failure is not an end, but a new beginning. It gives us the chance to learn from what didn't work adjust our strategy, and move forward with a fresh perspective. So, no matter how many times we fall, we can always get up and continue writing our narrative in a way that is richer, deeper, and full of meaning. Each failure is, in essence, an invitation to be more human, to connect with our emotions, to reflect on what we truly want, and to rediscover our strengths. It pushes us to break the barriers that limit us, to question our beliefs, and to expand our vision of the world. Through failure, we realize that we are much more capable than we imagine, and that every experience, good or bad, is leading us to a place of greater understanding and growth. Ultimately, failure is not something to fear, but something to embrace. It is the fertile ground where our seeds of learning and resilience grow. It teaches us to be kinder to ourselves, to value the process as much as the result, and to understand that every step, even the hardest ones, are part of the story we are building. And in the end, when we look back, we can see that each challenge, each failure, has brought us one step closer to becoming the best version of ourselves. Failure also teaches us a powerful lesson about the impermanence of situations. Nothing in life is static, neither success nor failure. Often, when we are in the middle of a failure, we tend to think it is a permanent state. However, over time, we realize that everything changes, even the most difficult moments. This perspective allows us to live with greater emotional flexibility, as we understand that the low points do not define our lives entirely. They are just a part of the process. By accepting this fluidity, we learn to better manage the emotions associated with failure, knowing that everything is temporary. Additionally, failure teaches us to value context and perspective. When we are in the midst of a challenge, it's easy to focus on what's wrong, on what didn't go as we expected. However, by taking a moment to step back from the situation and see the bigger picture, we realize that failure does not define our whole being. It is just a piece in the puzzle of our life, and sometimes we need that broader perspective to find the meaning behind our failures. What seems like a defeat in the moment can become an invaluable lesson as we move forward and gain more experience. It is also in failure where we develop deeper resilience. Resilience is not only about getting up after a fall, but how we use that experience to transform ourselves. Every time we fail, our ability to recover strengthens, not just because we learn to handle failure, but because we become more aware of our ability to overcome it. This process makes us stronger, more committed to our goals, and more willing to face future adversities with confidence and determination. Ultimately, failure also connects us to a larger vision of life. It reminds us that while our individual efforts are important, we are part of something much bigger than ourselves. Through failure, we often realize that we are learning not just for ourselves, but to share our lessons and grow collectively. Failure teaches us that our experiences are not just for our benefit, but that by sharing what we've learned, we can help others navigate their own challenges. This connection with others makes us feel more human and reminds us that we are all in this journey together. Furthermore, failure invites us to develop patience, not only with ourselves, but with the process itself. Life rarely follows a straight path, and it is through moments of falling that we learn to be patient with time and progress. It teaches us that every step, even the smallest ones, count, and that true success lies in the willingness to keep moving forward, no matter how slow the progress is. Sometimes it is in those moments of patience and perseverance that the seeds of true success are being sown, even though we may not always see the fruits right away. Failure, then, is not just something to endure, but a tool that drives us toward greater understanding and growth. It challenges us to see the world in a new way, to redefine our values, and to find beauty in the process. It invites us to let go of the fear of the unknown and embrace change with the confidence that every experience, every stumble, is preparing us for what's to come. In the end, every failure becomes one more step toward personal evolution. It allows us to discover what truly matters, teaches us to value what we are capable of, and most importantly, reminds us that life is not about avoiding mistakes, but about learning to rise again and again. In that process, we meet a stronger, wiser, and more grateful version of ourselves, ready to face whatever comes next, knowing that failure is not an end, but merely a new opportunity to grow. Failure also offers us one of the most valuable lessons: the importance of self-compassion. When we fail, we often become our harshest critics, judging ourselves severely for not reaching our goals or not meeting the expectations we had. However, failure teaches us that being kind to ourselves is a crucial component of moving forward. Instead of punishing ourselves for every mistake, we should learn to treat ourselves with the same compassion and understanding we would offer to a close friend. Recognizing that we all make mistakes and that they do not define our worth as individuals gives us the freedom to move on without the burden of destructive self-criticism. Self-compassion does not mean giving up or stopping our efforts, but understanding that stumbles are part of the journey and that the process of learning is just as important as the final result. It allows us to forgive ourselves for the mistakes made, and in this way, we free ourselves from the anxiety and guilt that often accompany failure. By doing so, we create a healthier and more constructive internal environment that encourages us to keep trying with renewed energy. As we cultivate self-compassion, we also begin to understand that failure can be a powerful tool for cultivating humility. Life reminds us, through failure, that we are not invincible or infallible. We all face difficulties and challenges, and recognizing this allows us to keep our feet on the ground. Humility, born from failure, helps us stay open to new ideas and learn from others. It teaches us to be willing to ask for help when we need it, to recognize our limitations, and to be willing to grow beyond them. Throughout this process, failure can also serve as a reminder of the importance of gratitude. Often, when we are caught up in our struggles, we forget the blessings we have, both big and small. Failure invites us to see that, even in difficult moments, there are lessons to be learned and aspects of our life for which we can be grateful. It can be a call to appreciate the opportunities we've been given, to recognize what we've accomplished so far, and to thank the people and circumstances that have supported us along the way. This gratitude not only helps us maintain a positive mindset, but also gives us the strength to keep going when things get tough. With each failure, we also learn to value the importance of flexibility and adaptability. Life doesn't always follow a straight path, and circumstances can change quickly. Failure teaches us that we can't always control what happens around us, but we can control how we respond. Adaptability allows us to change our perspective, adjust our plans, and find creative solutions to obstacles. We learn to be more resilient not only by facing failure, but also by effectively adjusting to the new realities that arise along the way. This flexible approach also allows us to see opportunities within failures. Instead of seeing a defeat as the end of the road, we begin to view failure as a turning point, a moment when we can choose how to move forward. It gives us the freedom to redirect our efforts, explore new horizons, and open ourselves to new possibilities we hadn't considered before. Thus, failure, far from being an obstacle, becomes a springboard that propels us toward a future full of potential. Finally, failure teaches us the power of hope. Although failures can be painful and challenging, each one gives us an opportunity to recalculate, learn, and keep dreaming. In the darkest moments, it is important to remember that there is always a chance for change. Hope is what gives us the strength to rise after every fall, what motivates us to keep looking for ways to improve, what inspires us not to give up in the face of adversity. By keeping hope alive, we not only prepare for future challenges, but also find the motivation to face failures with a positive and resilient attitude. Therefore, failure is not just an inevitable part of life, but an experience that, when handled with the right mindset, can transform us profoundly. It teaches us to be more compassionate, humble, and grateful. It pushes us to adapt to changing circumstances and gives us the hope that despite difficulties, we can always grow and move forward. In the end, failure reminds us that life is not a destination, but a journey full of learning, ups and downs, and above all, opportunities to discover who we truly are and who we can become. As we continue to move forward, failure also invites us to reconsider our relationship with time. In our society, success is often measured by how quickly we reach our goals, and failures associated with delays or the lack of immediate results. However, failure teaches us that time doesn't always work the way we expect. Some things require patience, persistence, and a longer process to develop. Failure reminds us that time is a learning tool, and sometimes the deepest growth happens in the slowest and most difficult moments. Time, instead of being an enemy, becomes an ally when we learn to see each step as an opportunity to improve. It's not just about the final goal, but about how we grow along the way. By accepting that the process takes time, we can enjoy each experience more, even when things don't go as planned. This also frees us from the pressure of doing it quickly and encourages us to go at our own pace, allowing us to learn from each mistake and grow with each attempt. Moreover, failure teaches us the importance of perseverance. It's not about never failing, but about trying again and again, despite the difficulties. Perseverance is forged through failure, because each time we get up, we are choosing to continue, despite the obstacles we encounter along the way. This type of mental and emotional resilience not only allows us to overcome adversity, but also strengthens our confidence in our ability to face the unexpected. Perseverance also reminds us that often the difference between success and failure is not ability, but the willingness to keep going when things don't go as expected. Most successful people are not the ones who never fail, but those who keep learning, adjusting their approach, and staying committed despite the setbacks. This type of resilience builds a solid foundation for longer-lasting and more meaningful success. Ultimately, failure also has the power to connect people more deeply. When we fail, we realize we are not alone in our struggles. Everyone faces difficulties at some point, and by sharing our failure experiences with others, we create a space of vulnerability and mutual understanding. This strengthens our relationships, teaches us to support one another, and reminds us that we are all on the same journey. We realize that failure, far from separating us, can be a source of connection, an experience that makes us more human and more empathetic toward others. Finally, failure invites us to reflect on our definition of success. Often, society pushes us to seek material achievements, recognition, or external validation. However, failure challenges us to rethink what success truly means. Through failure, we can discover that true success doesn't lie in reaching a specific goal, but in the inner peace, authenticity, and personal growth we achieve along the way. It teaches us that success is about being in tune with our own values, living according to what truly matters to us, and learning from every experience we go through. In summary, failure, far from being a defeat, is an invaluable tool for personal and collective growth. It teaches us to be kinder to ourselves, to be patient with the process, and to persevere despite difficulties. It connects us with others, allows us to reflect on our own definitions of success, and prepares us to face future challenges with a stronger and more adaptable mindset. If we embrace failure as an integral part of life, we can turn it into a catalyst for deep and positive transformation that brings us closer to our goals and a fuller, more meaningful life. As we continue to explore the impact of failure, it is crucial to understand that it is also an opportunity to reevaluate our expectations and beliefs. Often, failure confronts us with our deepest assumptions about what is possible and what is not. It challenges us to review our limiting beliefs and recognize that our abilities are not as rigid as we think. Failure, then, is not just a lesson about what doesn't work, but an invitation to discover new ways of thinking, to reconsider what we thought we knew about our own limits and possibilities. This reevaluation of our beliefs opens doors to new opportunities and approaches. Every failure is a reminder that there are multiple paths to success, and the most direct one is not always the most effective or fulfilling. We learn that our limitations are, in many cases, mental constructs that can be challenged, and that failure provides us with the necessary space to make this adjustment. What initially seems like a setback can become a turning point towards something much bigger than we had imagined. Failure also connects us with the importance of authenticity. When we fail, we cannot move forward with the same superficial mindset or strategy that led to our defeat. Failure forces us to be more authentic with ourselves, to recognize our mistakes, and learn from them. This self-awareness is a powerful tool for growth, because only when we are honest about what we lack or need to improve can we truly progress. Failure helps us shed our masks and embrace our vulnerability, which in turn leads to a more genuine and fulfilling life. One of the most profound lessons failure provides is the power of long-term vision. In times of difficulty, it can be hard to see beyond the immediate situation. However, failure reminds us that life is a continuous process of learning and growth. What today seems like an insurmountable obstacle may just be part of a much larger journey. And over time, our experiences of failure become the foundation for our future achievements. This long-term perspective helps us stay focused on the big picture and gives us the motivation to keep going when things get tough. In this sense, failure also serves as a school of patience. We often expect quick results, but the reality is that many of life's most valuable things require time, effort, and persistence. Failure teaches us that patience is key to lasting success, and that it is in waiting and persevering that the most meaningful achievements are forged. It helps us let go of our anxiety over control and trust the process, understanding that each step, even the slowest or seemingly failed ones, is essential to reaching the desired destination. At the same time, failure leads us to a deep reflection on the value of personal satisfaction. External pressures often push us to meet certain standards, but failure makes us question whether those standards truly serve us. Instead of seeking external validation, failure teaches us to find satisfaction in our own efforts and in the learning that comes from our experiences, regardless of the outcome. It reminds us that the true measure of success is inner satisfaction, the feeling of having done our best and having learned something valuable in the process. Finally, failure can be the spark that ignites creativity. When traditional or expected solutions don't work, failure forces us to think outside the box, to seek new ways of addressing problems. It is in these moments of challenge that our minds are most open to innovation, improvisation, and experimentation. By stepping out of our comfort zone, failure pushes us to explore the unknown, to try new ideas and approaches that we otherwise would never have considered. This type of creativity not only helps us overcome failure, but also allows us to develop unique and valuable solutions to our problems. In summary, failure is much more than a simple defeat or setback. It is a teacher that guides us toward personal growth, creativity, and authentic success. It teaches us lessons in resilience, patience, self-compassion, and authenticity, and challenges us to redefine our beliefs and expectations. By embracing failure as part of the process, we not only become stronger and wiser individuals, but also prepare ourselves to achieve deeper and more lasting success, based on learning and a genuine understanding of our own potential. Failure, therefore, is not the end of the road, but an essential component of a journey toward a more promising future. Failure also opens the door to exploring vulnerability. Experiencing the painful reality of failure forces us to face our insecurities and fears in an honest and direct way. It challenges us to be vulnerable, to show our flaws and weaknesses without the need to hide them or pretend everything is fine. This type of vulnerability, far from weakening us, strengthens us. By embracing our imperfections, we free ourselves from the pressure to be perfect, allowing us to be more authentic and connect with others on a deeper level. Through vulnerability, we give ourselves permission to be human, to learn, and to grow. Furthermore, failure is a constant reminder that change is the only constant in life. Rather than seeing it as a sign of instability or incapacity, we can view it as an opportunity to adapt and evolve. Every time we fail, the universe offers us the chance to reassess our direction, reevaluate our goals, and adjust to new circumstances. This flexibility allows us to reinvent ourselves, learn to see things from different perspectives, and discover innovative solutions to problems. In this way, failure becomes an ally in our ability to adapt to the changes and challenges that will inevitably arise. Another important aspect of failure is its ability to teach us the importance of gratitude, even in the darkest moments. When we fail, we tend to focus on what we have lost or what we have not achieved. However, if we take a moment to reflect, we can realize the valuable lessons we have gained, the new skills we have developed, and the opportunities that, in some way, have been presented to us thanks to those failures. Failure, then, becomes an invitation to gratitude, to appreciate what we have learned and the doors that have opened, even when they were not the ones we originally expected. This gratitude for failure also teaches us to be more compassionate with others. We all face obstacles and failures at some point, and having gone through that experience ourselves makes us more empathetic and understanding toward those going through similar difficulties. Failure connects us, not only with ourselves, but also with others, by making us more aware of our shared struggles. This can strengthen our relationships, create a stronger support network, and foster an environment of mutual growth. Likewise, failure helps us break the barriers of fear and perfection. Modern culture often pushes us to fear failure and see perfection as a necessary goal. It tells us that making mistakes is something we must avoid at all costs. However, failure shows us that the fear of making mistakes is far more damaging than failure itself. As we stop fearing failure, we free ourselves from the constant anxiety of having to do everything right. This shift in perspective allows us to experience without fear, inviting us to take risks and live fully, knowing that even if we do not get the expected result, the value lies in the attempt, in the learning, and in the lived experience. Failure also teaches us the value of perseverance in a deeper sense. Often it is not the first attempt, nor the second, nor the third, that leads us to success, but the consistent effort over time. Failure reminds us that perseverance is the key to overcoming obstacles, and that the greatest achievements do not always come quickly. It teaches us that true success is the result of patience and determination, of pushing forward even when results are not immediate. With each challenge, with each failure, we build an internal strength that allows us to withstand pressure and keep pursuing our dreams with greater clarity and focus. This process also helps us understand that failure is not always a reflection of our inability or lack of effort, but sometimes the result of factors beyond our control. Failure can be caused by external circumstances such as market changes, decisions made by others, or unforeseen situations. Learning to accept these variables without taking them as a personal reflection helps us free ourselves from unnecessary guilt. It allows us to separate our efforts from the final result and, instead, focus on what we can learn and how we can improve in the future. In this sense, failure becomes an exercise in emotional maturity and self-understanding. Finally, failure challenges us to discover a purpose beyond tangible results. It invites us to reflect on the deeper reasons why we pursue certain goals. Is it for recognition, for external validation, or is there something more meaningful that drives us? By failing, we can question our motivations and reconnect with what truly matters: personal growth, contributing to others, and the desire to be better human beings. Failure, in its purest form, shows us that true purpose does not lie in what we achieve, but in how we transform in the process. In conclusion, failure, far from being an enemy, is a powerful teacher that guides us toward a richer and more authentic life. It teaches us lessons in resilience, patience, self-compassion, and the importance of living without fear. It helps us grow in humility and gratitude, rediscover our creativity, and cultivate deeper and more empathetic relationships. By embracing failure as an essential part of our journey, we learn to see every experience, both positive and negative, as an opportunity for growth and transformation. Friends, I hope all these tips bless your life. Remember to subscribe, and may God bless you.